Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. Thanks for clicking on my video today. I hope you like what you see, and if you do, I'd love it if you could hit that red subscribe button.
Today's video is 5 super quick and easy DIYs using things that we've already DIY'd or things that we found at the thrift store in our home that just need a little bit of an upgrade, making them into something fresh and new. This was a glass jar from the Dollar Tree that I made into a Christmas decor item. It's been sitting for 2 years, so I decided to just grab it and make something new with it. This is just going to get a couple of coats of white chalk paint to start, and then I'll let that completely dry. I'm taking some spackling and a plastic spoon, and I'm going to apply a little bit of a pattern on the bottom third or two-thirds of this jar. Now, I use the dry decks because that's what I have, but this is the one that is pink when it's wet and then dries white. I like that one because then you know for sure when everything is dry. And I'm starting off kind of gingerly here with some smaller strokes, but I end up getting a little bit more confident as I move along. And I just really like how this one turned out. Some of them are shorter strokes, some of them are longer strokes, some have a little bit more on it, some have a little bit less, but it does turn out looking pretty neat. It's completely dry now, and this probably took a couple of hours. And what I'm doing is just taking my fingers and rubbing against it. And this is just going to take off any of the little loose bits or the pointy bits. And then I'll just take a regular paintbrush and just brush off any of the dust that might still be on there. If you didn't want to use your hands, you could just use a soft cloth on it, even a sanding block, but you'd need to use a very light touch for that. These came off really easy, but it just makes a little bit of a dusty mess, so just be aware of that. Now, you could definitely leave the two-toned texture just the way it is if that's something that you like. I decided that I wanted to paint them white and have everything look the same, and I really love how bright this turned out. I'm just using some of my chalk paint here. This is a Bear brand. I have a tiny little bit left down at the bottom, so I thought I would just use it all up. And I love how this one turned out. Really super quick and easy and absolutely beautiful. Let me know what you think. I am so excited to share with you that today's video is sponsored by Fitville. They sent me a couple of pairs of their athletic running shoes, and I've got to say, they are the most comfortable shoes I have ever worn in my entire life. Fitville shoes are equipped with wide toe boxes, patented EVA soles, shock absorbing pads, and arch support design, all to provide you with a cushioned and comfortable experience. The heel portion of the soles are extra wide, so you have maximum stability when you're walking and running. So there's no fear of knee injuries or turning over your ankle. Fitville shoes are empowered by ErgoFit technology. Springy cushioning minimizes the impact and maximizes the stability. What I like about them is they have a wide toe box, which allows your feet to move comfortably without any pain. The link to Fitville will be down in my description box, where you can shop by the type of shoe you're looking for, the size, and you can even shop by the foot condition. These are amazing, comfortable shoes, and if you have any problems with your feet, these are the ones you have to try. This is the second pair of shoes that I got, and I got these because I like to wear black in the spring and the fall. I love that these don't have a tongue that slides in, so I have them set to the tightness I need, and I can just slip right into them very easily. They are so stable, and you feel like you're walking on a cloud. Make sure you head down to my description box. There will be a link for you, a code for you, and all the good stuff so you can get yourself a wonderful pair of Fitville shoes. For my second project, I'm using something that I haven't used in ages, and that is water slide decal paper. The brand I have is from Hippo. You print it off using your inkjet printer, and then you just take some clear matte spray. It doesn't really matter what brand it is, but I like Rust-Oleum, and this is the clear matte finish. You could also do a gloss finish if you want yours to be nice and glossy. You're going to give it a lot of spray. You can see how wet this is. Then you're going to let it dry and do it 2 more times. To speed up the drying process, I used my blow dryer and I pressed the cool button so it wouldn't be warm air coming out. It would be nice and cool, and that just dries it really well. Then you don't have to hang around and wait for each coat to dry, although it does dry fairly quickly on its own as well. Here's where the magic happens. You take some warm water. I just put this in a flat bowl like this, and I've already cut out my designs, and you can see that I've cut fairly close to the actual graphic. It does come out clear, but there is sort of a sticker look to it if you leave too much of the decal paper on the outside. Leave it in the water anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. And once you can take that image and just use your thumbs and start to slide it off the paper, you know that it's ready for your transfer. Take your project, your item, your piece, whatever you're going to apply this to, make sure that it's been cleaned. Take a little bit of water with your finger and put it on top of your project. This will just make the decal easier to position and move around should you need to do that. So here I am. I'm going to take my flower design, and if you're not that experienced with it, I would say leave it on the backing paper, get it partially off, and then place it on your design. I just pulled it off and slapped it on, and because there's water underneath, you have lots of time to play with it. Probably a good 5 minutes before this is actually going to be solidly dry. And the reason being, I'm going to be taking a tissue and dabbing and pushing the water off of it. So while I'm doing this, I can still move my decal or my sticker or water slide decal, whatever you want to call it. I can still move it around and make sure that it's in the right spot. I have quite a few in-depth tutorials on how to use water slide decal paper, and I'll link them at the end of the video. I picked up this little ivory creamer and sugar at the thrift store. I think it was $3.99 for the pair, and they're in perfect condition. So I thought, because there's nothing wrong with them, I don't have to cover them up. The color is okay. I'm just going to embellish them a little bit with something quick and easy. And this was just the ticket. I think they turned out absolutely beautiful. I got the Magnolia design from Creative Fabrica. If you've never checked out their site, they have tons of beautiful graphics to use. The link is down in my description box. This next project is also going to be using a water slide decal, and this is the Farm Fresh Milk. You can do black and white with water slide decals as well as color. The one thing you need to remember though is there won't be any white printed out because printers don't have white. So if you're using anything on a darker sheet and you want white to show up, you'll need to paint that white first in order for any white to show up. I hope I'm making sense here. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and dunk my Farm Fresh milk and then just put it on this pitcher that I've had sitting up on a shelf in my foyer. And I just had it plain. It didn't have anything on it, and it's been there for quite a few years, and I thought, you know what, it's time to dress this up just a little bit. So here I've got my big water slide decal. I'm laying it down, making sure that it's even. I can adjust it just a little bit before my time runs out and the water dries. Again, I'll just take my tissue and squeeze out all of the other water underneath it, just very gently by patting it down and pushing a little bit. And once it's dry, it's ready to be displayed. And I am so glad I used the Farm Fresh milk. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. This is one of those round boxes that you can get with lids. They're just storage boxes. I had found a set of 3 of these at a garage sale last summer, and I've used the other 2 for some stuff, and this is the larger one. So I just gave it a couple of coats of white chalk paint on the outside and a really quick one on the inside. Now I'm just using a glue stick and I'm going to be applying this printable. This is just a little vintage printable magnolia, sort of a botanical feel to it. And I'm going to just glue this right on top of the paint. I trimmed off the excess from the top and the bottom, and where I had some excess on the sides, I decided to use a small paintbrush dipped in some water, and I just made the paper wet all the way down, and I was very easily able to just tear the paper off, leaving a little bit of a rough edge. I did this because I wasn't sure if I was going to be covering this rough edge with something. This project evolved as I was working on it, so I thought, well, let's just do this and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with it later. In hindsight, I didn't need to do this because I do end up covering it up. To add a little bit of distressing and get rid of any of the excess paper on the top, I'm just using my sanding block, and I will go around the whole top of it and as well the bottom, just to bring out some of that original color, which was sort of a burnt mustard kind of color, maybe a Dijon mustard. But anyway, and that just brought out a little bit of the distressing in it and made it look vintage and old. I did decide to take a little bit of this burlap ribbon and glue that. There's the color. I don't know if that's a Dijon mustard or a brown or a beige. Anyway, doesn't matter. I covered it up. I'm going to just glue this ribbon on either side where I tore the paper, so I didn't need to tear the paper. And once I get the 2 sides where the paper is on, I'm going to do a third one at the back, and that will give it sort of a 3-point area. I think the 2 ribbons framed out the magnolia picture on the front of it really nicely. And then I added another piece of ribbon all the way around from one end to the other, right in the center. And that just kind of broke up a little bit of that white space that was on the back of the box. And this turned out really pretty. I think all of my projects today are just so easy and so simple to do. A little bit of paper, a little bit of color, a little bit of ribbon, and you've got a beautiful piece to showcase collectibles or create a vignette with it. Lots of possibilities if you just let your imagination go. For my final super quick and easy DIY, I'm taking this little bird that came off of a wind chime. I've gotten a couple of these throughout the years at my local Dollarama store, and I just take the chime apart because I want the little birdies. Anyway, I know they've got little holes in them, but I'm going to fix that in a little bit later. I'm going to give it one good coat of white chalk paint. Once it's fully dried, I'm taking a little baby chip brush and some black chalk paint, and I'm just going to go over the raised edges and bring out some distressing. This is really going to make a difference when you look at the wings and the tail. It's just going to bring out all of those ridges and bumps. To camouflage the little hole in his back, I decided to just grab a little sprig of greenery and a little pretty white flower and just embellish him that way. If you didn't want to do that, you could definitely just take some spackle or wood filler and fill up the holes and then just paint over it. But I think this turned out super cute. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to head down to the description box and click on the link to get 30% off with the code at Fitville. You're going to love your shoes. I hope you enjoyed these super quick and easy DIYs, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.